If you don't know anything about the Cournot model, this is the video for you. This is episode 1. We're starting with the basics. We're going over the notation. That's all this video is about. We're not doing anything complex. We are just going over the basics. All right, so why start here? It's simple and useful. It has lots of use cases. It's flexible, and it's a great, simple start. It's a great place to start. And it also, the Cournot naturally introduces the Stackelberg, okay, which is just a different model that we'll go over much later. We have our model assumptions. So as it is stated right here, there's only going to be 2 firms, and it's symmetric, which just means, well, you'll see what that means later, but let's just worry about this for now. You have 2 players. The firms are known as players. You have firm 1 and firm 2. That's why it's called game theory, y'all. You have your choice variables, so you're competing in quantity. So the Cournot is quantity competition. The Bertrand is price competition, okay? It's easy to remember because it's Cournot for quantity. It kind of starts with that same sound, okay? Timing is simultaneous, okay? So it happens, they're choosing their quantities at the same time, and the product is homogeneous. So it's the same thing. They cannot, it's like, they're both selling apples, okay? It's the same apple. The demand is just this big Q, and it's just Q1 plus Q2. So it's just the total demand of what both the firms are making, and obviously that'll affect the inverse demand curve right here. So you have A, which is like the market demand for your apples, and then how much B is essentially like the slope of how much your apples, the total quantity of apples, affect market demand, because there's just so many apples people can eat, okay? Costs, so this is like your marginal cost, so it's like your cost of producing an apple, okay? Constant marginal cost. So that's our model. These are our model assumptions, okay? We're going to go over the notation because this can get people a little bit nauseous, okay? I've seen people look at economic notation and have to hurry to the washroom like they've just had one too many shots of tequila, okay? Which is usually the case if you're in economics. So it might also just be that. So we have A, which is usually alpha, but I'm using A here because it's like ABC. I think it looks cool. A is the intercept of inverse demand. So when price is equal, when quantity is equal to 0. So it's just your market demand or the intercept of inverse demand. So, this is your inverse demand. This would obviously be the intercept if Q is equal to 0, which is alpha, A. B is the slope of inverse demand, captures price sensitivity. So again, it's like, what is it? MX plus B, except, A is B and MX is whatever. You see this is high school stuff, guys. All right. So how much the quantity changes the intercept. The slope. The intercept is always the intercept, and then this slope is the slope. I'm not explaining this to you, unfortunately, but we are going to go over the notation. C is your constant marginal and average cost per unit. So how much is it costing you on average to make an extra unit of something? We're not caring about fixed cost, okay? And then Q of I is the output of firm I. So where I is either equal to 1 or 2, right? Because we're only playing with 2 firms right now, okay? Q, big Q, all right, or capital Q, is the total market output. So it's just the total Qs, okay? So this would be Q1 plus Q2. And then the market price as a function of Q is exactly what we have here. So it's the inverse inverse demand curve, or the inverse demand function, okay? Pi of I is just the profit of firm I, so we're not actually doing anything crazy with circles. Everyone can relax. And then Q star is the equilibrium quantity for each firm in the symmetric Cournot-Nash equilibrium. So we'll derive that soon. And then P star is the corresponding equilibrium price. So what is the price? It's important that this is a capital P here because this is like your market price. And so this isn't set, or sorry, this is influenced by the quantity, but it is the price relative to total quantity, not one firm's quantity, because you've got multiple firms at play here. Why are these dots showing up? Okay, I don't like that. So that's the notation. This is really important because it's easy to forget. And it's one thing that you'll get confused with, as I have many times. It's just important to remember your notation. And also it's super important to learn how to build your functions, okay? This is pretty easy. This is pretty easy, but it can get a little bit weird. Sometimes you'll see something like this. P of Q is equal to A, or I'm going to draw alpha because that seems to be quite common, less beta Q. It's the same thing, except I'm writing just A less B. And then you can also get something like this, where it's just, we're assuming that just is 1. So it's a direct influence. But that's not the case ever. But anyway, that's not here nor there. I think that's the video. I guess key takeaways that I want you to remember is what we're assuming here and the notation. Actually, you know what? What if I just went through this whole model? This isn't very hard.